Hey everyone, welcome to Just Vibes with the Click podcast with your boy Peace J. And today we'll be talking about how it is being a teacher like today at a high school. And today we have Chulumanco with us, and she is currently a teacher, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Hi everyone. My name is Chulumanco. I'm not a stranger to this podcast. I don't know why Peace didn't mention that, but I am currently a high school teacher in the Eastern Cape. I teach English.
Oh, okay. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't know that, eh? I literally didn't know that. I thought you
yeah.
were teaching like, I don't know, I thought you just taught everything.
What? That's the only subject where I didn't have to study and I passed quite well. Okay, let me not lie. But that was like the most easiest subject for me.
Yes.
So that's why it made sense to go the English route.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah,
sense. Okay.
yeah.
So, what got you into teaching, first of all?
Oh man, it's a long story to be honest. It's like a detour because I started off doing another course,
Yes, yeah.
which was agriculture.
Mm.
And then I don't think it was the right course for me at the time. So, and luckily for me, uh, blessing in disguise, I couldn't pay for my fees. So I had to take a forced gap year.
Yeah,
And in that year, I volunteered at my mom's school.
yeah.
And, it just felt right. So then I just decided to register for teaching the following year.
Oh,
So that's how it happened.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But then
Yes.
now the question is, why high school?
Oh man. So the reason why is because I felt as though high school did very little to prepare us for the real world. Um, I, for one, was not ready. Although I thrived in high school. Okay, I didn't thrive, but I did very well. When I got to varsity was a different story. As a result, my mental health and everything just took like a decline because I felt like, oh my gosh, I was not ready for the real world. So I think wanting to change that and wanting to help like young people be prepared for the next step,
Mm.
that's what propelled me to think, maybe I should just rather opt for teaching high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Mm.
So, how many schools have you taught at so far?
So with teaching, you have practicals, right?
Yes, yes.
So I've taught, as a student teacher, I've taught in about, I think, four different schools and two different provinces. And then since graduating, this is my second school, so I've taught in two different schools.
Hmm.
So I think in total around six. Yeah, six.
Okay. And how was your like experience in those schools, like at the beginning, that is? Because thing is, I know high school people. We were high school people. We, our classmates,
Once
were not
upon
the
a time.
friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the children, I mean, honestly, children are children. I've come to realize that it doesn't matter whether you're teaching the Eastern Cape in Free State,
Mm.
in Gauteng, children are children. But let me be honest, the time at which we were in high school and the time that I'm teaching now is a completely different time.
Yeah, yeah, true.
So the the behavioral issues are worse, I won't lie.
Mm.
And the work ethic, I think also it's owed to the pandemic because right, during 2020, like they didn't really go to school much.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, they were living the varsity life in the midst of high school, or some of them were even primary school. So now I think still we're still dealing with the effects of that.
Yeah.
Getting to kids to do anything was really, it was like pulling teeth from a chicken. Honestly, it was really difficult. So the work ethic and yeah, and it's become much more difficult to retain their attention because obviously of things like TikTok and stuff and social media. And so that I feel like that reduces attention span. So that also is a very difficult challenge. But I think the biggest one for teachers is discipline across the board. Whether you're teaching primary or high school, learner discipline is a bit of an issue.
Because I feel like you can still reason with someone in primary school, but then when it
Mm.
comes to high school, like I've seen the videos like on Twitter where like I don't
Oh,
know if you saw that
yeah.
video where like the student jumps on the teacher's back, you know, and then
No.
and then there's another one
Was
where
that in South Africa?
yes,
Oh
literally jumps
my.
like apparently the students were doing something and then the teacher was shouting and then in the midst of shouting the student just jumps on the back and I'm like, what's going on? And then there was
Oh
another
my
one where
goodness.
the teacher, this bald-headed teacher, was like explaining something to a student at his desk, and one of the students behind him was listening, and then put his hand on the guy's head and started rubbing it. And I'm
No.
like, the disrespect, the utter
No
disrespect.
way.
Yeah,
No ways. Oh my goodness. So you see, yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue. I think I hate to say this, but it starts at home.
yeah,
It really starts at home. So I feel like a lot of the time, I'm sorry to say, but the parents could do way better because and the sad thing is that sometimes parents take children to a certain school in hopes that that school and those teachers will change their child. And the reality is that you as a parent spend the most time with your child. So it's up to you to instill the important things like respect, work ethic. The teacher's job is to reinforce what you have already instilled. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So that's the issue that we're facing a lot of the time. And you can't blame some of the children because they come from homes where they parent themselves. This is South Africa. So some of the time we find that a child's home situation is not ideal. They don't have any parents in the household, or their parents unfortunately maybe are alcoholics. So they hardly spend any time home or they're working away from home. So you see, so it's layered. The discipline issues, as much as we want to make the children's villains, we have to understand their children. And the children are to be molded. But if there's no one molding them, society will. You get what I'm saying? So my friend, it's very layered.
but I
It's
feel
very
like
layered.
if like, oh, I'm not trying to bash parents, because
Yeah, we don't want to
obviously
do that.
you don't know the situation is right, but
Yeah.
if I honestly feel like you would rather raise your child up than let the world raise them up,
Mm, mm.
because the world is a very, very scary place.
Oh my goodness, please. We don't want the world is a mess.
And
I don't even want to get into I don't want to get into it. Like there's the first thing I think of when you say the world is a mess. Like honestly, I don't want to say I want to get canceled.
and then I get
So
what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It is a mess.
yes,
It is a complete mess.
it's a hot mess.
So
It's a
yeah,
hot
so
mess.
dude, thing is now,
Yeah,
remember when you were at that school? I think you were at the school in Free State.
yes.
Yeah. So remember I was talking to you that time and I was like, how do you not how do you like are you taught to take disrespect from a student? Like how do you discipline them without saying, hey dude, after school is after school?
Um, well, I guess we're taught this term in local parentis, which means basically at school you are the parent. And it's instilled to you when you're a student teacher that you always have to be the adult. It doesn't matter what type of situation it is. It's not a situational thing where if this happens, I have the right to beat this child up. No, you are taught to be the bigger person. It does not matter whether the child is disrespecting you, you are not allowed to do certain things. Okay. So you have to basically train yourself to be emotionally, I wouldn't even say intelligent. I guess so. I guess emotionally, for lack of a better word, emotionally intelligent enough to understand that the child might be doing something that, they're not old enough to understand their actions, the repercussions of their actions. So you now must be the older person to say, you know what, the child is doing this, but I'm not going to take it to heart. I'm not going to, act out. I'm going to be a professional because at the end of the day, you are a professional. So yeah, you just have to learn to absorb. You absorb and you absorb and you move on. You absorb and you address it in a very respectful manner. Again, in South Africa, you're not allowed to physically beat up a child, or even if you're saying it's just, to put them on a straight line, as Black people would say, you're not allowed to do that. So you just have to find ways that are more interpersonal, more conversational in order to resolve issues between you and the students. Yes.
Mad, mad.
It sounds like it's something you couldn't do.
I
You're
can't.
like, give me zero.
I
Give me
can't.
zero.
Like, remember I told you that, if you're gonna, like, I have really good comebacks, really good ones,
Ooh.
those 2 cent comments, the ones that will make people be like, you're actually saying that. I'm like, yes, I am saying that, So now I feel like I don't think I can be a teacher. I feel like, oh, dude, because thing is,
Your comeback game is too strong to be a teacher.
dude, nah, man.
It's
These people want to disrespect me, and then I must take it. I'm like, yo, dude, I can't.
yeah, because you're the professional. You are a representation of the government or whatever institution you're teaching, because it's a private school. So at all times, you have to keep that at the back of your mind.
The hell with that.
Um, this is why it's very difficult. I don't want to lie. It's very difficult. Especially with teenagers, because the adolescent stage is just a very wild stage.
Mm.
So yeah, and it so happens sometimes that you even teach students who are older than you or your age. So it's very tricky. Um, yeah, it's very tricky, but that's why you also need God. If you're Christian or you believe in a higher power, you need to help you, because it really gets difficult.
Have you had that experience, like when you're teaching someone who is like above your age?
Luckily not. But I've had friends who've had those experiences. But I've had a student saying, but she's just a child, you know, saying that to me, which was absolutely shocking. I was like, what do you mean? You were born in the 2000s, I'm a 90s baby, but that was when I was still a student teacher. So you see, it's so yeah.
So this person said you were a child, and you had to take it on the chin.
Yes. Yeah, but you know what? I think I addressed it. I told him basically that, I don't appreciate that, and he should give me respect because I'm his teacher, you know. So yeah, but you just have to find a way that's very respectful. Again, you also want to instill these values of respect, right? And you must understand something about 2000, even with us. Like, we're more so the type of people where we don't just respect you in jail. Respect is earned. So you also have to show your students respect in order for you to actually receive it back. Sometimes they take advantage, but I think it's a rule of thumb. Just be respectful, and a lot of the times they'll respect you as well.
But Lulu, that doesn't really make, I feel like that's not really practical though, because some
Yes, that's
people,
the thing.
it's like, thing is, when you're studying to be a teacher, that's what they say. But even if you're respectful to someone, they'll still disrespect you, because let's say you give them, maybe you give you give the student 24 out of 50, right? So technically they failed. You see, and then
They're like, ma'am, where's the one?
exactly. And then now they start fighting you, and now you still need to be respectful. Now they start dissing you, like, hey, who are you? Like, you don't even, like, you and I are the same age. Like, the thing is, I remember student teachers are not respected. One, they're always treated like friends, not as teachers.
Yeah. Teachers.
So that's the main problem I see.
Yes, I think yes, yes, that's why that's why from the very onset, even if you're a student teacher, but you know what, the tricky thing is, even if you come with that, I'm the student teacher or I'm a teacher, you must respect me, the children still know what's going on. They still know that you're a student teacher. And if you come with an attitude, so it's up to the teacher, the mentor teacher, to actually introduce the teacher and tell the students that you are to address Miss Manjana with respect. She's part of the staff. So it's very important to have hands-on mentor teachers in that case. But it's very difficult, this thing of respect. And we're seeing that out the provinces, my friend, whether it's Afrikaner schools, whether it's predominantly Black schools, township, Model C, it's just a recurring thing. I remember I was at a school for practicals in Joburg, and one of the students told the teacher that he should actually resign now. It's time for him to resign. And I was like, what? He told him straight up, he's like, you need to resign, you can't teach. So, it's very, very, very difficult. I think I don't want to be too negative, but I think it's very important for people to understand that these are the things that come with the profession. There are very positive things as well. Like with this career, you immediately see the effect that you're having, unlike with some other careers. So that's a big positive. And there are moments where you form great bonds with your students that are life-changing. And they come to you to confide in you. And sometimes, when they pass their matric and they come back to fetch their statements, and there are full circle moments like that are very wholesome. But as well, there are very difficult moments where you have to deal with a lot of strain. So I think it's important for people to weigh the options. That's why I would suggest anyone wants to be a teacher to be an EA straight after school, so that you can get exposed to the actual school environment, not this romantic idea of what the profession is like.
Okay. It's a no for me, though. It's a no for me.
Peace. You're supposed to be objective. Everyone knows, yeah. But my friend, yeah, it's very difficult.
No, because
yeah, I could never imagine. I wouldn't put you in this position.
I have a friend who does teach. Well, when she was still in SA, she was doing teaching, and also at UJ. And
nice.
When we met up at church, she would tell me like, "Yo, Peace, these kids, they're so rude, So now she's a girl. So now she still had to deal with the whole thing of male students hitting on her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now she has to also be respectful and tell them, look, I'm a teacher, I'm a member of staff.
Yeah. You can't just address me like I'm just, one of your female friends. Yeah, no, it's very, I think also you have to be, I don't want to blame it on the teacher, but the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, you have to be very conscious of
Mm,
that. And yeah, you have to be extremely, extremely conscious of that. Because if you're not, then you might feel this idea that the learners may have that, what, she's close to our age, she's just like a friend.
yeah.
So you also have to like make sure that you take yourself seriously and you dress the part. Sometimes, especially for the younger teachers who for short, who look like they could be one of the students, your dress code will help you out. I'm just
Mm,
saying, a practical tip, you just have to dress like you wouldn't,
yeah, yeah,
just so that the
absolutely.
kids would take you seriously. So it's things like that and the way you speak, obviously, but you don't want to be too strict to the point where you are unable to foster like relationships with your students. So yeah, but the way you speak must also be that of a parental figure. So that's the thing with teaching, like it teaches you to grow up because like they tell you that you're acting in local parenting, so you are the parent at school. So whether you like it or not, you must you must be mature when you come into this profession.
Oh,
So yeah, yes.
that is a lot. That is a lot.
Hmm.
We,
Yeah.
one thing I've noticed about the young people in high school now is that they they're not really interested in school anymore. And I feel like
Oh,
it goes
yeah.
back to what you said, after COVID, it's more of a I have to go here, but I really don't want to be here. So, because the thing is, I'm
Mm,
also so I invigilate, right? At a
yes.
I can say it's a special school, you know. So
Okay.
I invigilate like personally, like one-on-one type of situation. And
Mm.
sometimes when I'm in the room with the student, um, the stuff that they write down, oh my goodness.
I would know, trust me.
It's like
Trust, trust me, I know what you mean.
because I'm like,
Yeah,
the future is in their hands? Really? These ones?
yeah, yeah. It's oh, my friend. I remember at the school that I was at. Um, so one of the students, it was a history paper that they were writing. So then I don't know what the question was, but they wrote on the answer sheet, I don't know, Sana, full stop. And it's the Sana for me at the end, and I don't know how to translate Sana in Xhosa, but it's like, I don't know, hey. It's a very
Yeah.
blasé, like relaxed, like I don't know. Like, and I was like, you wrote that on the script. Like,
Oh man.
I'm just like, why couldn't you just leave it blank? Like, can you just take the paper seriously? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's the weirdest thing. And you know what, Tanae, a lot of the children, they have ambitions to be influencers and, they don't necessarily want to go into the whole academic field.
Yeah.
And I respect that because I understand that actually influencing can be a very lucrative career in the age that we're living in. But even those influencers who are there, they pass school, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Education, you need some sort of education. So with them, I guess sometimes they don't have that understanding. And yeah, the school just is something that, yeah, if they could have a choice, shame they wouldn't pick it. That's what I've also realized.
That
So
is true.
you're not joking when you say that.
And
You're 100% correct.
if you have ambitions to be an influencer, my goodness, like
Oh,
you might like you're like, oh no. Your chances are like one okay, I'm not like 1 to 50,000, you know? And thing is,
Yes.
what, okay, some influencers became influencers because of positive things. Like, oh, like, who's this person? Remember those girls who danced that song, John Vulgate?
Yes, yes, yes.
Did you see how bad
I
they fell
remember.
off?
I don't even your weren't they one hit wonders? No offense to the ladies, but weren't
Proper,
they one hit wonders?
proper one-hit
E-
wonders.
Exactly. Exactly. There must be some sort of tangible skill like you used to break into the industry that
Exactly.
will actually retain prolonged attention. For instance, with Mekhalin Dabase, she was a makeup person,
Yeah,
and beauty and makeup, whatever. So she honed that makeup skill. And she's educated. And you can't run away from books. You can't run away from education.
mm,
So that's what they don't realize, unfortunately. And I think with this whole TikTok generation, there's also this thing of growing up too fast. So they're just wanting things that in my opinion, they have no business wanting at their age. Things that will damage them rather than enrich their lives. So I find, yeah, so that's what I find. Because I remember at this other school I was at, we had a student and she was loud in class boasting how she only dates men with cars. And I
mm.
was like, my sweetheart, you're not even wearing the matric jacket yet, my love. Like you haven't even, you know, because that's the type of life that social media basically glorifies, a life of material possession. And the work behind it, they don't really market that.
Exactly.
So that's the issue. I think there's a big need to make education fashionable again. That's our challenge in this age.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Another influencer that I follow on Instagram. Well, uh he re he gives his 2 cents on some dumb stuff or even nice stuff that happens, right? He's an American guy.
Mm,
So
mm.
the one time someone asked him, like, hey, like, what do you do? Or like if this thing stops, like if you stop doing this, like what are you doing? And like, hey dude, me, I've got a degree, you know, I've got a degree, I'm an American, what's this? I'm a track field racer or whatever athlete,
Okay.
like
Okay.
he's got accolades. This man has got
He's
accolades.
got accolades. This is not the only thing.
Dude, like he can stop reacting to stuff and literally go to the Olympics.
And still be paid. Exactly. And still be paid. And unfortunately, that's the life we're living in. Like, you have to have, if you're going for influencing, you have to have something to back you up in case. I know our black parents, like, we feel like they're just kill our vibe when they tell us to first get a degree, but there's wisdom in that. Like, there is wisdom. You
Yeah,
need to have a plan B.
exactly. The plan
Yeah.
B is very, very important. Yeah.
And it's patient based. You can't run away.
Mm,
You can't run away unless you're a track athlete or God bless you those athletic genes.
yeah,
But if you're not part of that 1%, you can't run away from the books.
exactly. You really can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing that students don't really realize, that not everyone can be an influencer. Like
Mm,
sometimes you need to know people, you know, and you really
exactly.
don't, and you,
Connections in the industry.
exactly, and you really don't want to be that person who became famous because of something negative that you did,
Mm,
you know, because
completely.
like how far?
And I think this is not to like, huh?
Oh no,
How
no.
far?
I was just going to say, like, how far are you willing to go so that you can become an influencer? Like, I'm not trying to bash influencers,
Mm,
right? But I'm just saying
yeah.
that I like most of the influencers they went to school, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of them they went to school. And this is not like to bash anyone maybe who has aspirations of not just influencing, being a music producer or what, because you find a lot of students like they're very passionate about the arts, acting and music and DJing. But you know how much more powerful your career could be if, let's say, you have a sound engineering degree on top of like get what I'm saying, and you get
Mhm.
to understand your industry and the science behind what you love more. So, like, I always encourage students to, follow your passions because I mean that is a God-given talent. Music, being able to act, and even makeup, all of these things. But there's value in actually pursuing the education behind what you love as well. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just before we wrap up things now, I want to just quickly ask, what's been your worst experience and best experience when you're in front of the students there?
Your My best experience. Oh my goodness, Peace, you're really putting me on the spot. I think for me, my best experiences with my students are always like one-on-one type of
Mhm.
um situations where maybe a student comes up to me and you know they confide in me about something, and I'm able to help them out. I think for me, that's the most heartwarming part of the job.
Yeah.
And then worst has to be when you just shouting your lungs out. That for me is just draining. I remember this other time I went, I was a student teacher at the school, and I went to invigilate the grade nines, no eights. They were writing, I think maths or something.
Yeah.
And I literally shouted, I was like, I wonder if your parents know this is what you get up to at school. And one of the kids was like, yep, they know. And I was like, what?
I am
Let
not
me,
afraid.
you don't know anything. Ooh. So, oh, yes. So I've witnessed that. I've witnessed students making each other bleed.
I
That has
would
been traumatic as well.
like
Oh, and the
stabbing.
police came to get a statement. Oh my goodness, you don't know. So those have been like very shocking experiences, but I think the great ones have overshadowed so far. Yeah.
Wait, so let's go back to that quickly. And like, I know we need to wrap things up, but like going back to the
Mhm.
whole you witnessed like a student making another student bleed. Was that like a stabbing or like physical
Um,
punches or?
it was physical. So like what had happened was a student took the whole the hose pipe of a fire extinguisher.
You, the ones at school, nah?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
he took that and he slashed the boy. So he ended up bleeding. There was literally like blood splatter everywhere. His face was like in blood and his shirt was bloody.
Oh my.
And the police had to be called. And yeah, so that happened. And he was so upset. But luckily we had one of the older teachers, who's like a very motherly figure, and she managed to like calm him down. But it was really violent and shocking,
Oh, thank you.
very shocking.
Man, that
Yes.
is crazy. That is crazy.
So violence and also a lot of weed, drugs, and it's unfortunately it's all there. It's all there.
Hmm. Oh man. I can't imagine being a teacher
Yeah.
today.
It is very hard, my friend. I think that's why people don't stay long. You find teachers are retiring very younger to go into fields like HR, or some of them are choosing to teach English online to like Asian students.
Yeah.
So because the realities of teaching in our schools in South Africa, because our society is so violent as well, because you must understand the schools are a representation of the society.
Yes.
So now the schools are getting worse and worse. So yeah, to anyone wanting to do education, they must just know. Heads up.
Okay, so I know you just said like a closing statement, but like, what advice would you give to a student who's planning on going into teaching, or someone who's already in teaching, starting out, you know?
Okay, for someone who's planning to teach, I would say they must just take a year off, and become an EA, because that gives you like real practical experience. You teach, you do all the administration in some schools, not all of it, but some of it, so you can see what the pressure looks like. And for someone who just entered teaching, I would say just take every day as it comes. Understand that you will feel like a fish out of water, because the degree, studying teaching and actually being a teacher are two different things. It's much more difficult and the pressure is all on you.
Yeah.
So you just need to understand that, you grow through it and you might fail there and there, but people expect you to, because it's your first time, being an actual teacher, not just a student teacher. So just give yourself grace and try to just savor the good moments.
Man,
Yeah.
you give them really good hope.
I try. I've tried. Even though you have been the person who be like, you've been the negative voice, but I've tried. It's still a very noble career, and if you have a passion for it, I say it's gonna be so rewarding for you, and you should do it. But if you're on the fence, I would say first make sure before you commit to a 4-year degree and a career in teaching.
Okay. So guys, you've heard it. You've heard the pros and cons of being a student teacher or being a teacher just starting out. Like it's not easy. It's not easy. It's like hearing from what Tulu said. So you guys make the decision. Okay? You guys make the decision. Personally, I won't advise it. But someone needs to teach the kids. Someone needs to teach it. Personally, not me. Miss me.
We all know, not you. He's Jay.
Oh,
not you, Joel.
Hey, but then I can like before we finish, if there's any other student teacher or teacher who's willing to come on and tell us their experience about being a teacher, feel free to contact me. Yeah, I'll put a link to my Instagram, so you guys can contact me there. So yeah. Tulu, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you coming through.
Thank you. And I hope people learned a thing or two.
Thank you. And guys, it's been your boy Peace J, Just Vibes with the Click podcast. I'll take you guys next time.